Hey, legend. Thank you so much for tuning in to the I Wonder podcast. I'm very fortunate to be able to sit down with my good friend Dom in the Yamarala wetlands in Somerville. I'm very grateful for you tuning in. In this podcast, we dine into all topics of what it means to be a dad and what he's learnt from and about his children. We dine into what it means to be a man and a little bit of origin story and seeing what lessons we can pick apart from our origin stories. This chat is full of substance, especially if you are curious about these topics and subjects within your life. So tune in, listen into the words spoken and see if they can resemble something into your life. Thank you very much. And we're on. Amazing.
Beautiful.
Happy days.
Happy days indeed. Thanks, Harvey.
So welcome, Dom. So this is the first episode
Beautiful.
of the I Wonder podcast with Harvey Siriani, myself. So I picked the name I Wonder because I feel like wonder and the willingness to be curious and to ask questions is the first and most vital and important stage of growth and human discovery. Because once we can only really find answers or responses or things that ring true to us if we are asking questions. Right, if we think that we know everything.
Yeah, true. You're not going to know anything.
They're the people who know nothing. Yeah. So this podcast is very much just about asking questions and not necessarily believing that we know any answers, but just furthering into that depth of curiosity and either asking each other or even just asking out to the air.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
essence of all that, what is happening and what am I curious about myself at the moment. So I first off want to hand the mic to you and ask, Dom, who are you and what are you wondering about at the moment?
Yeah, so that's definitely a good question, Harvey. Who am I? I've been often thinking, biologically I'm a man, but I think more to the point of who you are is, I guess, a set of standards and values that you hold dear. And to me, a lot of wonder has obviously been circulating around responsibility. I have quite a large family, 5 kids, dedicated partner. We've been together for 14, 15 years. It's a very long time. And, we've had just a mountain of struggles, obviously personally with ourselves, with our relationship, obviously the wounds that we've had and gone through as kids, obviously projecting those backwards and forwards with each other. And I guess some things that are really intriguing wonder now that we've done a lot of personal growth together by ourselves is who we are wanting to become more of interpersonally with ourselves, but also together in a relationship. So we've just been exploring my responsibility and discipline a lot more surrounding that. Obviously our partners are the greatest mirror of all time, and they can either bring out the best or the worst in us, just depending on how deep we want to listen to what they're saying. But super thankful for her for doing that for me and showing me my flaws, and obviously bringing things that I didn't necessarily know were a thing, were actually a subconscious hidden thing that I would do. There was huge wonder to explore around that, and by all means that was not easy. Having yourself shown to yourself by someone else, especially when they're so close to you, you can feel it to the depths of your stomach. And for I guess the first moments of it when we were first doing that scared the shit out of me, and it instantly put me into freeze, and I'd just kind of choke up, my voice would close and I wouldn't know what to say. And we'd just go through the motions. She'd be talking, but like I just could not formulate a response or anything like that. And yeah, it wasn't until we, I guess, both discussed ways of better communicating what we both needed in that time. Or for me personally, it was to ease into it rather than, because she can be very, very direct, very sharp, but she's not meaning anything bad behind it. But yeah, I just would take that the wrong way. I'd freeze up, and yeah, it wasn't until we could shift, like feeling those emotions of oh, the freeze is about to come on. No, we'll continually talk. We'll just slowly feel into it, and wait for it to pass, and then yeah, get into the tougher conversation around it. So yeah, definitely the wonder is at the moment who we want to become more of. Yeah, definitely.
And right now, if I ask you the question, who do you want to become more of, what shows up?
Yeah, so for me, someone, and for something I guess I didn't have a lot of when I was growing up, but definitely a responsible, grounded, a strong man. Not only for myself but for my kids. So a lot of what I do now is just for the kids, for my partner, and to give them that sense of safety, that sense of home is safe, is secure. You can be yourselves. I might give you a stern talking to, but there's no aggression. It's just a nice, safe container for everyone to feel themselves. So, yeah, for me, it's definitely responsible, disciplined, and strong.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask? Because I feel like that's what most men and fathers strive to be. Some don't even ask the question, unfortunately. But I feel like there's always, within relationships or being a father or being a parent, there's certain techniques that some parents use uniquely when going about difficult conversations or disciplining their children or setting in a boundary. Do you have any specific techniques that come straight to mind of like a conversation starter or something you might do to prepare a difficult or raw conversation with someone that you love, maybe in your family or friends, whether it's even sharing a breath together or something that you say beforehand, just for anyone listening to this also wanting to be very similar things to you or wanting to adopt these traits, but also say and talk the talk, but don't really know the techniques about it, because there are some really awesome techniques that we can go about.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess me and my partner obviously know when we need to have a difficult conversation. Obviously there'll be something in the air, there might be something that we haven't fully closed out. Generally I'm not very good at dealing with it right then and there in the moment. I need to regulate myself. So for me looks like just breathing, just walking away, going, okay, I'm about to have a heavy conversation. I need to take control of my own emotions. And for me to do that is just breathing, just doing a little bit of breath work, whether it's gentle, it's balanced, it's down regulating, whatever I find is going to help me in that moment, that's what I'll do. But then to close the loop, we'll say to each other, hey, 10-15 minutes, or hey, once we deal with this with the kids, can we go sit down and we can talk about this? And that's the promise that we make to each other, and that's what we go do. You may still feel those feelings come up, but because you have an anchor within your emotions, it's not overwhelming at all. And the stronger you lean into these things, or the more often you lean into these things, you actually build more strength, more groundedness, more control over your own being, your own emotions, and eventually the conversations just become fluid. And that's what we want to do. We want to move like water, and just be as gentle as we can, or be as hard as we need to be. And for the kids, again, definitely when they're out of control, it's take control of yourself again. I find with the kids, it's a lot easier for me just to take that deep breath and go, they're just kids. You got to remember, they are just kids. They're just crazy little people. They haven't grown up the way we have. They haven't the life experiences. They don't know much about emotions. They just kind of let everything fly. But when you know that and you tell yourself that, it changes the perspective. Like, you know, and you understand that they're just a little human, a little version of yourself. So yeah, it's obviously like getting down onto their level, like taking one knee, seeing eye to eye with them, like calling them over to say, hey, come on, we need to have this chat. Like, this was wrong. How do you think you should have handled that situation? Or just asking them a question. Do you think by doing that is going to give you a good outcome or a negative outcome? Like, how do you think that person feels from you taking that action? And then when they start analysing those questions and answering those questions, it definitely, like, you can see it in their face. It shows up like, oh, okay, well, maybe that was the wrong thing to do. Maybe I shouldn't do that. And then, yeah, we just go about it and say, what do you think you could do better next time? And they'll give you the right answer, 9 times out of 10. And yeah, I guess what a child doesn't need is the man of the house, the leader of the house, to lose control of their emotions, just like the kids have. And they see you throwing your emotions around, throwing things around. If they see that, they'll imitate that. They'll think, oh, that's how you handle your emotions.
Yeah, monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do. And kids are a direct reflection of yourselves, like the man of the house, the woman of the house. And yeah, we need to be there to support them and their growth in a positive way. Rather than putting them down, we can still tell them off and say, hey, you've done these things wrong, but we can also educate them and get them to educate themselves and come to their own realizations to uplift them and do better.
Yeah. It's just like adults, like, or like how we do with breathwork, we create space to come back to our internal wisdom. And I guess that's what you're also doing is with your kids, just like asking them questions that create space out of their like habitual thinking or their habitual mind. And yeah, from that space, like even kids can come back into their wisdom. So like, even if kids can do it who are, picking their nose and fart, and I'm sure adults can also do that. Like, something that I believe is that we all have an internal wisdom within ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you call it learnings from Buddha or Jesus, that all of these learnings, whether we read the books or not, once we create space in ourselves, we can always come back to it because they're hardwired within us.
Yeah.
Like, that's spirit, and
definitely.
within spirit is wisdom.
Yeah.
So even just conversations like we're having now, just like to create space, doesn't have to be yoga, breath work, running, boxing, or somatic. It can just be in conversation where we're sort of stuck for words and we're like, oh wait, there's more than just me. Especially that question you ask your kids of how does this make the other person feel?
Yeah. And sometimes that's all it takes is just a different perspective. You might not like hearing that different perspective at the time, but you might get an aha moment later on when that same situation comes up and you just get that thought. For me, I find that everyone, like on this planet, every human has that innate wisdom. There's something locked in our DNA, or whether it's our DNA or our spirit. We know, like, we just have that deep inner knowing, but what clutters that clarity is overthinking, overstimulation of the mind, not being able to quiet ourselves down so we can listen to our body. And when we tune the mind out and actually listen to our body, then we can move with fluidity, and things that we thought we didn't know actually come up and go, oh, this issue is not really actually that much of an issue now that I think about it, or now that I've cleared my mind, I have a whole new angle to work off.
Yeah.
Things just pop up, like your intuition. When your mind's quiet, your intuition just guides you.
Yeah.
And it just depends on, do you want to listen?
Touching back on the kids, so we met at the Men Over Matter retreat late last year, I believe.
Yeah.
When it was a lot warmer than it is now.
Yeah, definitely a lot warmer.
And I remember several conversations that I had with you, even just on that retreat. But one that really stuck with me was your awe and your awe-inspiring, lustful learning about your kids and their childlike spirit.
Yeah.
And I remember that you started adopting the way in which your kids move their body, or the way in which your kids just went about life in this curiosity. And I loved that. I loved that as a parent as well. You were able to identify that and better see and feel that to such a level where you're also able to adopt that and really, I'm sure, also encourage that for your kids. Do you mind if I ask you to reiterate on that conversation of what you've learned from your kids?
I guess with the kids, like, I guess if you take it back to yourself, like as you experience yourself as a child, you're full of wonder. Like I was always like imagining things, creating things like just out of nothing, and it was just super easy. But then as we grow up, we're told we need to work, we need to learn, like we need to get rid of these things, and we need to drop ourselves into learning to get a job, to then work, to then pay bills, to get a house, to do all these things. But yet all that neglects that wonder, and that childlike wonder, if not, I guess, fostered right as you're growing up, like there's all like so many evolutions of that wonder from a child into your adult age, but we tend in today's society to lose that wonder. But for me, observing kids and observing my own kids and just watching them, like, again, just build things out of nothing. My sons love Lego, and like he just imagines something. He's like, I'm going to build this, Dad. I'm like, all right, cool, show me when you're done, or if you need help, I'll help you do it. And then he just comes back, he's like, oh, check out what I've built. And then I'm just amazed. Like he just thinks of these things, puts it out there, creates it, and brings it to life.
Yeah.
And I guess, kids can be one of the greatest teachers. I think for us, having kids, it's really taught us to forget everything we know about parenting, forget everything we experienced from our parents, and just let them lead you into parenting. So it's like you're almost relearning life all over again with children. They're just, I guess you can learn a lot from just simply observing how they be, how they are, how they react when they're just in their natural environment.
Yeah. What are some characteristics that you've taken on from that?
Yeah, so characteristics, definitely been a lot calmer, cool-headed at the start. Like everyone, life stresses, they just get to you. It doesn't take much to trigger that, and you're losing your shit. And so I think for me, definitely kids have taught me, be more relaxed, be more open to play, don't be so strict and like stringent with your routines. Have a bit of fluidity, have that movement in your body. Like, when they come to you, and like when you get home and they tug on your hand or your clothes and they say, hey, come with me, or let's go do this, like drop what you were going to do, go do that. And then you'll find magic in those moments of just simply being with your children in there. So yeah, definitely a characteristic is patience and regaining emotional control and taking ownership of your emotions.
Yeah, and you teach that to your kids simply just by being by being emotionally regulated?
Just by being emotionally regulated, because I've been dysregulated many times, and they'd tell my partner like, oh, Dad's been like this lately, blah blah blah. We'd then have a conversation, and then because the kids have brought that up to her, she's brought that up to me, I can then go, oh wow, maybe my moods, my emotions, me letting things go are actually affecting them and how they experience life. And I don't want that for them. That's something that I experienced as a kid. And so it really gives you the opportunity and the invitation again to step into your masculinity and do something about it.
Yeah. You mentioned this term just now, masculinity. That's huge topic at the moment, just within Australia especially.
Yeah, massive.
Of what that means, and that's why Men Over Matter, that's why that movement's been created, just that curiosity and figuring it out. Can I ask you what you define masculinity as, and some traits that you feel you adopt within that masculinity?
Yeah, so yes, it's a deep exploration, masculinity, because I think it's something that's been lost and forgotten about over the years as society's moved in the direction that it's going in. But for me, masculinity is like showing up for your family, showing up for your work colleagues, showing up for your friends in your fullest, being a person of integrity, being a responsible person, being a disciplined person. I think more to the point, and I had this conversation with a trainer this morning at gym, essentially just because you're biologically a male doesn't make you a man. And I feel like a man is nothing more than a set of values and standards that they can uphold through strength, through compassion, through purpose.
Yeah.
I think all those things that we've previously mentioned before all intertwine with each other to create a stern, strong man, someone who believes in standing up for injustice, for someone who protects people who can't often protect themselves or don't know how to stand up and protect themselves. You see people in the limelight, and they get called toxic masculinity and all those sorts of things. I think you can go too far with it, where what you're projecting is hurting people, but if you're stern and strong in your own beliefs, in your standards, I don't think it's arrogant. I think it's doing the world justice and a favour by you showing other people that, other males that, then you're then giving them the invitation to step into their masculinity. And I think that's definitely something that's people get ridiculed for, and put down for actually standing up and being a man, being what the essence of a man is.
Yeah. Completely agree. I have been playing with words because words are so meaningful. But playing with the term of toxic masculinity, because I don't believe that exists, really. I believe I like to change the word of it as just immaturity. And I know many people in my life who have lived a full life, or who are much older than I am, and who are so immature.
Yeah.
In that they don't know, or they choose not to regulate their emotions. They choose to project rather than reflect, or they don't uphold their word, or they don't secure their self-worth. Or a big thing that's so forgotten, I feel, with men and masculinity is it is our soul-ridden responsibility to deal with our trauma. And when insecurity comes up, whether in a relationship or just in life, it's coming up for a reason. The body is built and designed to cleanse. And as a man, to ignore that and to just chuff it down with a beer and call that masculinity, and just be like, nah, I need to hold down the fort, I can't be doing this, I can't be crying, I can't be expressing, that is, in my opinion, not masculinity at all.
Yeah.
That is retreating from the battle.
Yeah.
Right? The battlefield within ourselves.
Yeah.
That's where the real battle is won nowadays. Especially in modern society in Australia, there's no war.
Yeah.
Right? The war is only from within, and many, many men are losing this battle because they're not even showing up.
Yeah.
Their
Absolutely.
body is always calling forward more soldiers and troops and sergeants and generals and responsibility, and they're just retreating to the trenches.
Yeah.
And chugging down beer and drugs and scrolling on the internet, and then finding their way to medicated pills and such because they think there's a problem with them. But it is, I believe, our soul-ridden responsibility, especially as a man, to deal with our trauma, in whichever way, whether it's counselling, therapy, how we've sort of done with breathwork and sort of alternative remedies. And I feel like that's the huge problem within the world at the moment, just immaturity, and men are living their whole life with these scripts written when they were teenagers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And they're not evolving from that.
Yeah, I feel one thing that is kind of lost, and if you look at tribal cultures, they all have a rites of passage.
Exactly right.
They all have like some sort of initiation into manhood, and I guess for modern men in Australia now, you turn 18, you go out with the boys, you get wasted, they might shout you to the hookers, go get you laid. That's your initiation into manhood, as shocking as it sounds.
Yeah.
And but yeah, just looking back at tribal cultures, you know, you go do the hard things, you spend time in solitude, you come back as a different person. And I think by not allowing yourself the space to do that, do something hard, sit in silence, you're not allowing growth. There's the most amount of growth comes from the most uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
Like if you can pick one uncomfortable thing today, sit with it and go, I'm going to do something about this. That is growth. Like that is where the growth is, and you continually do that. It's easier and easier every time. Definitely.
Yeah. And for those listening, like, that can be so motivating and inspiring. Like, when things are shit, just change something. But when those things are so shit, and when we're at the bottom of the tree, we can't see light.
Yeah.
You know, it's covered by all these leaves. We when you're in a rainforest, there's no light.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're down at the bottom, so there's no sensation in the mind or the body that's saying, yes, this is possible. Do you mind if I ask you, like, if you've had a time in your life where it felt like that, where it was just this never-ending cycle, and there were so many motivating people out there that could always tell you, just get up, just do it, make your dreams, but it just felt impossible. Yeah, it just felt impossible. Have you ever had a time like that?
Yeah, I've had many times like that. Many dark moments, you know, self-medicating myself on all sorts of different substances, just trying to commit a suicide. Just feeling like there was no way out, just my body completely exhausted from that constant to and from battle within myself. And I think what really helped me was just going to see someone, and that wasn't someone it was someone I didn't know, having a conversation, sitting through their modality, and then from that I gained clarity over the situation, and then from there I just had to make the tough choice to, do I want to continue to feel this way, or now that I have clarity, do I want to step towards that, intrigue my interest, and move towards, I guess, light at the end of the tunnel? It's still pretty dark, but you do start seeing a glimmer of light. But I think it just starts with getting out of your head, getting out of your own way, and just having a conversation with someone, and then take those next steps into seeing someone from a modality. To me, healing modalities, they all pretty much generally do the same thing. Mm-hmm. They achieve the same goal, but just in a different format. Just the delivery is different, whether it be breathwork, kinesiology, counselling, spiritual counselling, PTSD, trauma hypnotic works. To me, a lot of the healing modalities do achieve the same goal. It's just delivered differently. Yeah. And I think you've just got to find something that you gel with, a facilitator that you're comfortable with. So you develop that comfort, that safety, and then that gives you reassurance that it is okay to go back and see them.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, one key thing from that, it's probably the hardest thing you'll ever do is just reach out and talk to someone. It doesn't have to be someone that you know. Sometimes when it's someone you don't know, it's a lot easier to unload. And then you'll gain the clarity to know your next steps.
100% agree. I run a lot of events that involve a portion of connection, where people go and find someone else in the group who they don't know, and I sort of provide cues for them to talk into, which can go a little bit deeper or not. And I was talking into this about the group that I had, talking to them about this last night, just that when we have conversations with the same people, whether our friends, our family, we either pull ourselves back because we are holding ourselves to an expectation, and we're holding ourselves to a thing that might offend them, right? Like we might know that whatever my story is might actually offend this person, or we hold ourselves back to the fullest that we can express. And this might be for many reasons, but when it's a total stranger, someone we don't know very well, but also someone who's there voluntarily holding space, not just walking up to someone or also walking on the street and being like, my mum, my dad. No, yeah. But finding someone like in these group sessions and sitting down with them and talking, there's no expectation. There's nothing off bounds. They don't know your story.
Yep.
So you can go as deep or as not deep as you need. But I remember when I was going to sessions very similar to this at the start of my journey, conversation, especially with people who I didn't know and who I would likely never really see again, just allowed me to express so fully, and it allowed me to find new parts of myself, because the only people who I was circling myself with was either like family or a large group of friends. And within that group of friends and my family as well, I was both held to different personalities and expectations that I felt I had to uphold always. And yeah, when we're alone, when we're in conversation with new people, it's really the opportunity for us to, like, I remember the first couple of times, it's like, who am I? Like, how am I going to talk to this person? Am I going to like swing my arms around and, you know, speak like this, but, and, you know, make sure they know that I'm the shit, make sure they know that I'm tough? Or like, who is Harvey without that? Who is Harvey when he's not there? Who is Harvey when he's just himself and when he's back to his childlike essence? And that was really, really confronting at first, just having a talk like we are now, using the voice that I'm talking in now, and not conforming to all of these other voices that I've been using. Did you have a similar sort of experience of like that discomfort leaning into who the fuck am I when I'm not
it's
this person?
Yeah, it can definitely be an uncomfortable thing. Obviously, when you know people, you get comfortable with people, like your expressions and all that sort of stuff. But talking to new people, you definitely do explore a different essence of yourself. Obviously, you pick up on their energy, other people communicate differently, and it gives you a good chance to explore how to express yourself differently, even though, it's uncomfortable as fuck. Like some people, because you're not familiar with their energy, it can be an uncomfortable and awkward conversation until you actually communicate backwards and forwards and explore those different ways.
Let's just take a quick moment to shout out one of our sponsors, Soma Cacao. Cacao from every nation. My favorite at the moment is the Peruvian and the Mexican cacao. It's all ceremonial grade, all very, very beautiful. Mixes into just about any food or drink that you wish to have. It's basically just like an even yummier and healthy as well cup of hot chocolate, no sugar, just straight cacao plant, straight from Mother Earth. Be sure to use the promo code SOMA, SOMA _Harvey, HARVEY _10. SOMA _Harvey _10 for 10% off your next order of any Soma cacao product. Thank you, and keep on listening.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, there is definitely a level of discomfort into talking with strangers or people you not necessarily may know, and they're in the same group. But also, it's definitely a good strength building exercise, a good way, to figure out different expressions of your true authentic self. Yeah, it's like, I guess, inspiring. Like if you're in a big gym, you're doing boxing, kickboxing, generally what I noticed, the same people would stick together and wouldn't want to work with people who couldn't hit the pads as hard or were awkward at holding the pads. But then that gives you a good opportunity to say, well, hey, I know how to hit the pads good. Like, let me show you a few things that may help you. And same again, like if you're really good at holding pads, and the other person's not, it gives you a good opportunity, and it gives you a good authentic time to do a good service to them and say, hey, when you're doing the pads, lean in a bit more. Like, don't be afraid to put a bit of forward pressure, or even meet my punch with a slap. And that's growth. Not only are you helping yourself by standing up and expressing what you're thinking on the inside, but also you're giving them an opportunity to adjust what they're doing and, doing it better. So I think, in essence, it's an awesome exercise to talk to people you don't know. Obviously, within yourself, you don't know them, so there is no preconceived way of how you should be acting or how you should be speaking.
Yeah.
And then it just opens that up to authenticity.
Yeah. Now, a question I asked my group last night, I was in Fire and Ice class down at P3, and I opened this question up in the sauna, and it's something that was asked just recently as well. But we were talking into an origin story, a hero story, and I feel like everybody has within them in their story and their past, I feel like everyone has several origin stories, several times of adversity, discomfort, pain that has shaped them into the person they are now in a very positive and wise way, like learning from that and building wisdom up on that and leaning into that as well. So I asked the group, what was one of their origin stories, and I listed it as, it could have been like relationships, an origin story with bad or good relationships and what they've learned from that, origin story of work or financials or health or spirituality, because I feel like we have many different pockets and stories of adversities and things we've come through within maybe even all of these. So I'd love to throw that question to you, if you don't mind, as to, what is an origin story of Dom?
Yeah, good question, Harvey.
Doesn't have to be the full life story, but what is a origin story?
Yeah, so I guess one good origin story was obviously dealing with past traumas that I never got to experience the range of emotions due to having to suppress it. So for me, I guess a good origin story would be feeling into a lot of emotions that never got processed as a child, as a teen, and then that just went on to more suppression. So for me, it was the big confronting thing was opening up, expressing myself to someone without the use of drugs, alcohol, doing it in a healing manner. Becoming, I guess, the next person who I needed to be for myself, future self, partner, kids, just relationships that I had at the time. It was to definitely close those emotional loops, deal with those emotions, work through them, and don't get me wrong, that took years. That was one baby step at a time. That was a painful fucking experience. But now, like, being able to express that and stand up, like, I feel good. I don't feel the weight of that pain. I don't feel the weight of those emotions anymore. I can feel them, I guess, in my head, in my body from what was experienced in the past, but it's not overwhelming. It doesn't control me. So a good origin story there is overcoming those emotions. And I guess one of the other key things moving into my teen years, teen years, early or late teen years, doing a plumbing apprenticeship. The first plumbing company that I ever worked for ran it like a military camp. And like they let you know who was boss. And that was a huge wake-up call for me, coming from school, from a part-time after-school hours job at a Windows place, just being a jockey, like pretty relaxed environment. But when other people's money and houses are on the line, like back then when I was doing an apprenticeship, like it was brutal. It was like a full-on military camp. But looking back at it now, as hard as that was to go to every day, that's given me an awesome work ethic.
Yeah.
It's given me awesome structure. It's giving me the ability to work through hard things, like physically hard things, to just know, well, back then, like I was 16, my body wasn't as strong, but I got through it. And then to me now, that's like, no matter what the next level wave of hardship is, I can draw upon that strength in the past that I had to go through for that, to then muster up the courage, step forward and just do it.
Yeah.
And just get through it. So yeah, for me, that's been a painfully awesome experience.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'd love to hear more about that. Like, so you're plumbing on an army camp. What was this?
Oh no, it wasn't on an army camp. They ran it like a military camp. So they were very structured, very strict. You know, you had your hands in your pockets. Dom, get your fucking hands out of your pockets or I'll stitch them up. You know, you get the wrong fitting. That's not what I asked for. Fuck that off.
Yeah.
Like, it was brutal like that. Like, it was, I'm in charge. You do and listen to what I say. It was brutal. Like, it was brutal. And, but in saying that, it was an awesome thing to go through, because now I have strength, I have structure.
Yeah.
And I know how to work. I've got great work ethic. And a lot of people lack that now. And I guess people can't teach teens and young adults like that now, and I really do think that is a key element to becoming a man. That's hardship. That's your introduction into manhood, stepping into responsibility. You know, grow the fuck up. It's time to shake that boy energy off. You're now a man. Like, cut the silly shit out.
Yeah, for sure. So you feel like learning and building yourself up on that. So the first site you were on was, or the first company, or
yeah,
was it
first company I worked for.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was
you finished your apprenticeship
huge
4
shock.
years.
Yeah, so because I was with a group training agency, I did maybe a year and a half with them, and then like their big project finished, so they, had to they just recalled everything, they restructured themselves, were waiting for like their next big project. So eventually, like, I moved on, did other things with plumbing, and just noticed other employees weren't quite like that. Which was just like, I was just shocked. It was just a big shock going from one extreme to another. But yeah, I got to then carry that same work ethic over. And because I'd experienced that in my very first year of my apprenticeship, I then carried that structure, that strength, that discipline throughout the apprenticeship, and took that with me no matter where I went. And then, eventually I got told, you're so much more mature than 18, 19, 20-year-old apprentices that we have that are more advanced than you, but your work ethic and skill makes you more advanced than them and more grown up.
For sure. Yeah, I've definitely understand that. I also did trade. I was in carpentry for a while, same sort of thing. Got into that when I was about 17, and yeah, my company was somewhat military style, but also very just toxic and drug affected. So it was, yes, like the marching of orders, but also a lot of projection of emotion. With a lot of blokes, it would be, as soon as they'd get on site, you'd just be praying that they didn't have a blue with their partner the night before, because if they did, they were just going to bring all of that energy straight onto you.
Yeah.
First words out of their mouth, you'd be like, "Hey, good morning," and they'd be like, "The fuck did you say?" And it's like,
here we go again.
Okay, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah.
And it was like that pretty much the whole time, with a few of the blokes. Obviously, there was a lot of better blokes. It was a big crew, so we got to go around. But whenever you're with those sort of people, it's just like, no.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you just know that they're about to absolutely project everything onto you.
Yeah.
Have you faced much with projection, or?
Yeah, definitely, especially in the workplace. People not dealing with their shit bring it to work, and then they feel like they have like a hierarchy because they think, I'm older, I'm bigger than you, I'm more experienced. They can.
I'm bigger than you. I'm higher on the food chain. Get in my belly.
Exactly. They just always speaking down, like just projecting their absolute shit all over you and making your work life hard. Like, no one comes to work to be shit on every day.
No.
yeah, it was just crazy. But I guess I didn't know any better. So because I'd obviously been through such a structured, like obviously do as your elders say, listen to them. You kind of just put up with it. The boss, you say something to him, he couldn't really give two fucks. Just get your work done, mate.
Yeah. As long as he's getting his money, he's happy.
Yeah. But then, a lot of the times, like, it was the boss doing that to everyone else. And, you could see, like, the boss would do it to maybe his second in charge. His second in charge would then pass it to the person closest to him. And, it's just a ripple effect. And they just pass it down the chain to the person who's on the bottom.
Mm. You like some water?
I'd love some water.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
One thing I love to challenge, and it's on this topic of wonder and curiosity of what is a normal thing in society that you feel is not right or just so stupid, or what is a norm? Yeah, that's just that you have challenged in your life and you feel like is an accessible thing that can be challenged and wondered and brought this curiosity upon.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say alcohol and substance use.
Okay.
So, like, obviously,
That's huge.
yeah, I got heavy into alcohol and substances. Thought it was fantastic because I didn't have to feel the pain of, like, my internal world. So for me, that just kept a revolving door of escapism, avoidance, and essentially dying because I wasn't growing. It wasn't until I just had my partner, God bless her, she stopped drinking when we had our first child. Our first child's now 11, turning 12, so she has not had a drink for 11 years, coming up 12 years. I think just noticing people's behaviour, obviously my own behaviour, I'd turn into a very loose person when the substances had kicked in, and it was just game over, essentially, for morality. But definitely, substances and alcohol consumption. When a few years back now, I took a year off drinking and I just observed everyone's behaviour towards me. So I took a full 365 days off of, like, no alcohol throughout the year. And those observations that I made were awesome. It was just people looking at me weird, like, "Oh, you're not having a beer? It's Friday, mate. Like, you got to have a beer." I'm like, "No. I'm just sitting this year out. Like, I just don't. I feel like now's the time in my life to just put a pause on it. I don't feel like it's an everyday necessity." And just some of the responses that you get, they're like, "You're a fucking alien."
Yeah.
The only tradie in Melbourne that's not drinking on a Friday. And so going through that experience, and I guess the cherry on top for me with alcohol was driving everyone around for the work breakup. And obviously, as everyone knows, in Australia, we love our booze.
Yeah.
We love getting smashed.
Culture.
Big booze culture, so everyone goes as hard as they can on work breakups especially. And just seeing grown men turn into children in 4 or 5 drinks was just incredible. And I was like, holy shit, is that what we look like? Is that how we sound?
Yeah.
And then throughout the night, progressively watching everyone get worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, nah, this is crazy. This is absolute bananas. Like, I can't believe, like, I spent so much time, so much energy, so much money doing this shit.
So much money.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I could have had more
especially
tattoos.
in Melbourne. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a big eye opener. Definitely a big eye opener. Especially trying to coordinate everyone once they were at peak fucking blindness, peak fucking alcohol consumption. Just trying to navigate everyone, like pulling these group of people over there, back in here, trying to get these people who are wandering off because they got no idea where we're going next, even though we explained where we're going. Pulling everyone back in to get everyone moving into the direction of, like, the bus was just so hard, man. It was so hard. But in essence, like, I found it funny, like, how do we let ourselves get like this? Like, we're absolute fucking children. Like, right now, like, everyone's, like, just staring. Like, not that I really care what other people think, but it is embarrassing for grown people to be acting like children in that way. Yeah, definitely. And like just the disrespectful behaviour that comes up, obviously towards women, even though their partner's not there, like towards their partner with like their behaviour, their actions and that sort of thing. And as a man, you should be carrying yourself with respect to your partner, to your family, to your kids, like no matter where you are. And so, yeah, going through that really turned me off alcohol. I still might have a beer every now and then, but, you know, it's one or two. And then, yeah, I'm just kind of done.
Yeah.
I still sometimes get that itch, like, oh, it's Friday, it's hot, you know, a couple of beers or a couple of bourbons would be good. And then I just really think, well, do I really need that though? Like, is that really something I need, or is that just that back of the brain subconscious programming that we've all picked up that's just tapping on the door, like waiting for you to come inside.
Else?
Yeah. But to me, that's going against growth. Like I've been there, I've done that, and I've had those friends that do that. And you know, we thought we were best friends, like through those stages. But where are we all now? Like, no longer in each other's lives because those relationships were formed on substance abuse. Alcohol consumption,
not reality.
Like yeah,
a warped version of reality.
Yeah, definitely. So
I think we're gonna have some visitors come through.
yeah, they can join in. Yeah, so that was a big eye opener. I think substances and alcohol abuse are terrible in Australia. Well, terrible for anyone, realistically. Yeah, it's just poison. It's just absolute death of the spirit. We're all consuming a liquid that essentially I've seen consume you. I've watched it consume my dad. I've seen it consume my stepdad. And yeah, you're drinking from a bottle that's essentially going to drink your life essence.
Did that choice of leaving the booze and everything else come through having kids? That responsibility?
Yeah, more so, I guess my partner being my biggest mirror, you know, showing me my greatest faults. But obviously making the choice to step in to push that stuff away and be a man for my kids. Obviously I've seen a lot of alcohol consumption when I was a kid. Like I've seen adults go from best friends to then fighting like just over random shit. You know, and I don't want that around my kids, and I don't drink around my kids. When we do parties, that's the inner Kiwi coming out. When we do events like birthdays, barbecues and stuff like that, we don't necessarily revolve it around drinking. We revolve it around the connection with each other. Yeah. And that sort of space. We do. We still might have like a family barbecue, like members of the family might have a few beers, but generally it's always away from the kids. I don't want, and my partner doesn't want us as adults to normalise drinking, normalise getting wasted, and normalise that behaviour.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Because I was, and I'm sure you may have as well, like, been raised the very classic way of like, son, grab me a beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Or it's like a tough day, it's been a tough day at work, they're emotionally dysregulated, son, grab me a beer.
Yeah.
Or just had a blue at home, son, grab me a beer.
Yeah.
Like, it's always... Yeah, like that's just sort of what was hardwired. And I had the privilege of living like about 3 years of that normal life of emotionally dysregulated, heightened emotions, beer, bong, go with the boys and go and piss fart around. And don't discuss it, but just slightly touch on it and see if it's available. It's never available, so just go back to drinking.
Yeah.
So, and it is like such an honor, such an honor. I'm so lucky that I've been able to live that like normal life where we are, very much just conditioned in that way of we feel uncomfortable. Okay, I'm gonna eat. I honestly do that still a little bit now. Whenever I feel uncomfortable, I know that's my vice. Yeah. That I'm going straight to the nearest Woolworths or finding my kitchen, and I'm gonna try and make something to fill that a bit of that void. To then come from that. That's grounding, you know. it helps me be more grounded, and then I can sort of emotionally regulate from there. Still not amazing. I overeat and I eat through stress, but I'm aware of it, and it's something I've been getting a lot better with. I used to eat so much, and now it's just a little bit, and I'm also just trying to breathe through it. But my vice used to be vaping, smoking, feel uncomfortable. I'm taking off work, I'm taking off school, I'm going to have a fucking bong, and I'm going to go forget about that I even exist. So whenever friends or anyone asks me like the way in which I moved through vices or addictions, it's always for me it was just by adding another vice, but something just a little bit better. So like for me to get off cocaine, I started doing excessive and extremely unhealthy amount of gym and working out. And then to also help my nervous system balance from the cocaine, I would dose with so much pre-workout. But that aided me for 3-4 months before I could slowly start to wean off from that, and then ate it with something else from there.
Definitely.
So it's just about one thing.
And we can trick ourselves into thinking we're shifting, we're moving into something more healthier, but in essence we're not dealing with the core issue that's contributing to that behaviour of consumption. Definitely, we can definitely trick ourselves in an easy way not to deal with things. We'll just migrate over into something different. It still fills that void, might be slightly healthier, but you're not dealing with those emotional loops. This is awesome.
Did not expect
so many visitors.
It was very, very quiet at the start, very peaceful, and now we've had a primary school or high school comes through looking at birds, and
now an elderly
lovely walking group come through. So I think we might begin to tie it in, brother.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for taking the time right before this. We had a chat about a breathwork event we're going to run together through Men Over Matter, which very, very excited for. We don't have a date for that just yet. So
not just yet, still in planning phase, but definitely looking forward to it. It'd be an awesome collaboration. Obviously, I've sat through a lot of Men Over Matters things and their retreats, and I gained a lot of good insight. Met some new people that we still talk to today, and it's just wholesome. It's awesome. Just embodying more of ourselves at each corner. But one thing I do want to say, like anyone out there who is struggling, you feel like you're deep in that hole that there's no way out. I know it sounds stupid and hard, but just reach out to someone. Have that conversation, and then from there, I promise you will get direction on your next step and where to go.
And for anyone who's listening as well is interested in learning more about your story and how you moved through this, you've just started doing 9D breathwork events, which is this awesome new style of breathwork that I personally have not tried yet. And I was chatting with you that before I facilitate this one with you and help you with this event, that I really need to sit down and try out this 9D breathwork. But you've just started running weekly or monthly events in around Somerville?
I guess fortnightly events, just to start off with, just while I'm opening, just to, I guess, build my own strength within the practice, build my own facilitatorship, get a feel for it, but also, I guess the essence of breathwork is still the same. We're activating our nervous system, we're bringing all the baggage to the surface that we don't need, and we're releasing it. We're doing it in a subconscious way where we don't have to be aware of the issue. We don't have to hold, that traumatic event at the forefront of our mind through this experience. We get to drop out of our minds. We get to lose the overthinking. We get to drop into our bodies and just allow our bodies the space and time that it needs to bring these things up and get rid of them, purge them, process them, detox from them. And then trust me, you'll feel 100% lighter afterwards. It's amazing, life-changing stuff. And I think the thing with 9D, which has made it so beneficial and effective for me, is the soundscapes, the different resonance in tones. It really draws you into your bodily experience. It draws you out of your mind into your body, and that's where the true healing begins, by detoxing, cleansing, purging all the shit that we do not need to carry, and allowing our space then afterwards, the time to just sit in that space we've created, to sit in that lightness, and then integrate with the lessons that will progressively show up through the weeks ahead.
That's awesome. I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be so good. I can't wait to facilitate it for you.
Yeah. No, it's going to be amazing. Beautiful. So, unfortunately, we don't have a date, but any men listening who wish to come along to a men's only breathwork event, we'll be running this probably throughout November, around that Frankston area, around maybe Chelsea. And yeah, we'll be diving into these practices where we'll just be getting rid of the mind and those labels and those restrictions of how we think we should act or perform, or how we think we should feel emotions, and we'll just take the time to just feel them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is
close these emotional loops.
Yeah.
And if the listeners out there want to reach out, I'm always happy to have a chat, just as much as Harvey is. Feel free to hit up the Instagram, and we can take it from there.
Amazing. What was your Instagram?
Dominic.conquer.
Conquer. Is that your last name?
No, it's not my last name. So, funnily enough, I'd gone through a whole heap of shit, like emptied out my traumatic baggage, and for me, that was such a triumphant victory to, in a sense, restore myself back to wholeness, or to come into some sort of sense of wholeness. And for me, like, that was a surmountable fucking hill, like, not a hill, a mountain that I had to climb, like the courage, like everything that led me to the top, that helped me progress back down to the ground level. It was like I conquered something.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I just thought from then on, like, I had a counselling business as well, so I was struggling to find a name for that, and they're just conquerors. Like, you've conquered. You've literally just fucking conquered, like, and emptied that traumatic baggage. And, like, that was amazing to me. I hold it dear to my heart, so I just added that on as, like, a last name, just a Dominic.conquer, or, Conqueror's breathwork and holistic facilitation, as it is now.
Yeah, amazing. Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to work with you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you so much for sitting in for this conversation and wondering about life with me. And yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
Beautiful. Thanks, Harvey. Let's close it off with a hug.